Okay, so get this. We're facing a world where like a simple touch
Oh, yeah.
in a hospital could spread a deadly fungus or a mosquito bite, right? Could mean hemorrhagic fever.
Right.
I mean, that's the reality of infectious diseases today,
Yeah.
both viral and fungal, and they're on the rise globally.
Yeah.
We're going to deep dive into 3 articles from the Torchbearer today to kind of figure out why this is happening.
Okay.
What are the specific threats?
Yeah.
What can we do to protect ourselves? We'll be looking at H5N1, another pandemic, or a passing storm,
Right.
which focuses on the avian flu and its potential to become the next pandemic.
Yeah.
Then there's the age of pandemics. Why is the world descending into infectious disease outbreaks?
Okay.
Exploring the broader context of outbreaks with viruses like mpox, Marburg, Nipah, and dengue.
Yeah. Lots of scary stuff.
And finally, we'll tackle unseen threats on the rise, exploring deadly emerging fungal infections of clinical concern, which delves into, well, exactly what the title says.
Yeah, exactly what it says.
Hey, that's a good one.
What I find fascinating is that these threats are all, like, connected.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting too. It's not just like...
It's not just isolated outbreaks.
Yeah, isolated outbreaks, it's much bigger than that.
It's globalization, environmental changes, even human behavior.
Right.
All creating this perfect storm. So let's start with this avian flu, H5N1.
Okay.
What makes this one different from your average bird flu?
I think the thing that is most concerning about this one...
It seems to be all over the news lately.
Yeah, and it's because it's making the jump from birds to mammals, and that's the...
Wow.
That's the red flag. So we're talking cattle, foxes, even household pets.
So what does that mean for us?
That means that it is,
As humans.
As humans, we have to be concerned about it.
Yeah.
Because H5N1 is already highly deadly with a 50% mortality rate in humans.
Yeah.
But if it mutates to spread easily between people...
It could make the impact of COVID-19 look small.
Okay, now that's got my attention.
Yeah, I think that's a very real possibility.
The articles mention a case in Texas where a dairy worker got H5N1 from milking infected cows.
Right.
It even attacked his eyes.
Yeah, that was scary.
They found the virus in the milk and meat, too.
Yeah.
That's scary stuff.
That case really highlighted how a virus can adapt.
Yeah.
The worker's H5N1 strain was almost identical to that of the cows,
Right.
but with mutations. So that raises concerns about food safety and how this could spread more widely.
And it's a global issue, right?
Absolutely.
The article mentioned Cambodia,
Right.
where 1 out of 5 people infected with H5N1 died.
Yeah, it's really scary.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that we need to be prepared.
Right.
Thankfully, vaccine development is already underway.
Oh, that's good.
But it underscores how urgent the situation is.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
But let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture. Why are we seeing such a resurgence in infectious diseases across the board?
Well, I think there are several factors at play here.
Yeah.
Globalization is a big one.
Okay.
Increased travel and trade mean a virus can go global in a matter of days.
Wow, that's fast.
Yeah, it is really fast.
Right.
And as we encroach further into animal habitats,
Right.
we also increase the chances of encountering new pathogens.
You're talking about those spillover events, right?
You were
When a
saying.
virus jumps from animals to humans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think of it like this. When we disrupt ecosystems through deforestation or push further into wild areas, we create more opportunities for those jumps to occur.
Right.
And it's not just about the initial spillover.
What do you mean?
Well, these viruses can then continue to evolve and adapt within the human population.
Right.
Add in environmental changes like climate change,
Yeah.
which further disrupt ecosystems. And you've got a recipe for pathogens to thrive and mutate.
So it's like we're creating the perfect breeding ground for these diseases.
Yeah.
Without even realizing it.
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
Okay, so besides H5N1,
Right.
are there other viruses we should be particularly concerned about? The articles mention a few others, like mpox, Marburg, Nipah, and dengue.
Yeah.
Which of those stand out to you?
Well, while mpox cases have subsided in 2024, it highlighted how quickly a virus can spread within social and sexual networks.
So we can't get complacent just because we haven't heard much about it lately.
You're exactly right. And then you have Marburg virus,
Yeah.
a hemorrhagic fever,
Oh, wow.
with mortality rates ranging from 24% to a terrifying 88%.
88%.
88%, yeah.
Wow, there's no proven treatment, is there?
Not yet.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Which is why containment is critical.
Yeah.
Another concerning virus is Nipah, causing severe respiratory illness and encephalitis.
Right.
It has a 40 to 75% mortality rate.
Oh, my God.
And spreads from bats to humans.
Okay.
We even saw some human-to-human transmission during an outbreak in Kerala, India.
Wow.
In September 2023.
So human-to-human transmission makes it even more worrisome.
Yeah, it does.
Is that why it's considered a potential pandemic threat?
It's definitely a contributing factor.
Right.
And then we have dengue fever,
yeah,
which is already rampant in tropical and subtropical regions.
Uh-huh.
But with climate change and urbanization creating ideal conditions for mosquitoes.
Oh, right.
We're seeing alarming surges in cases even beyond those regions.
So climate change is actually expanding the areas where these diseases can thrive.
It is.
That's a sobering thought.
It really underscores the interconnectedness of environmental health and human health.
Right.
What's happening in one sphere inevitably impacts the other.
Okay, so we've covered some pretty scary viruses.
Yeah, we have.
But what about fungal infections?
Yeah.
It feels like they don't get as much attention, even though they can be just as deadly.
Yeah, they often get overshadowed by bacteria and viruses.
Right.
But fungal infections are becoming more prevalent and, importantly, resistant to treatment.
So, like, what's...
They're a bit of a silent threat.
A silent threat? What makes them so dangerous?
Well, they've traditionally been more of a risk for people with weakened immune systems.
Right.
But we're seeing the emergence of fungal pathogens that can infect healthy individuals.
That's scary.
And many of these infections are becoming increasingly difficult to treat.
Oh, no.
Because they're developing resistance to the antifungals we have.
So we're talking about drug-resistant superfungi.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow. The article mentioned Candida auris as a major concern. What makes it so different from other fungal infections?
So Candida auris is, it's kind of a nightmare for healthcare settings.
Okay.
It's a multi-drug resistant yeast that can cause severe bloodstream infections. What makes it truly alarming is its high transmissibility.
Okay.
It spreads easily and persists on surfaces.
Wow.
And the mortality rate can be as high as 60%.
So it's not just about the severity of the infection, it's about how easily it spreads.
It's both, yeah.
Wow.
It highlights the critical importance of infection control measures.
Right.
Especially in hospitals.
What about some of the other fungal threats out there?
So there's Aspergillus fumigatus, a mold found in soil that can cause a severe lung infection called invasive aspergillosis.
Got it.
It primarily affects people with weakened immune systems.
Okay.
But what's concerning is that it's becoming increasingly resistant to our frontline antifungal drugs.
So it's like getting harder and harder to treat.
Unfortunately, yes.
That's not good.
And then there's this kind of rather unusual one.
Okay.
Trichophyte and mentagrophytes genotype C7 or TMVII.
TMVII. That sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's a recently identified dermatophyte.
Okay.
That's causing quite a stir because it's sexually transmitted.
Wait, a sexually transmitted fungal infection?
That's right.
Oh, wow.
It's causing itchy lesions in the groin and genital areas. And to make matters worse, it's resistant to common antifungals and is often misdiagnosed as a bacterial STI, leading to ineffective treatment.
So it's not only a new threat, but also one that's easily mistaken for something else?
Unfortunately, yes. That's not good.
This highlights the need for accurate diagnostics and awareness among healthcare providers.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that we need to be constantly on the lookout for emerging pathogens and adapt our strategies accordingly.
It's like we're in a constant arms race.
It is.
With these infectious diseases, but viral and fungal.
In some ways, yes. But the more we understand about these pathogens and the factors driving their emergence, the better we can develop interventions and prevent future outbreaks. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But it feels overwhelming.
I understand.
Where do we even begin to tackle a problem this big?
Well, I think the key is to recognize that it's not just a scientific problem.
Okay.
It's a societal problem.
Great.
And it's going to require a multifaceted approach to address it effectively.
Okay, I'm ready to dig into those potential solutions, but let's pick this back up in part 2.
Sounds good.
We'll be back in a moment to continue our deep dive into the world of infectious diseases.
Okay, looking forward to it.
So we just talked about how the rise of infectious diseases is like this huge global problem.
It is.
So where do we even begin to find solutions?
I think we have to think globally and act locally.
Okay.
We need international collaboration on surveillance and data sharing to track outbreaks and identify emerging threats early on.
Right.
A virus doesn't care about borders.
Right. That makes sense, but tracking these threats is only part of the solution, right?
Exactly.
What about actually fighting them?
Yeah, so we absolutely need to invest in research and development.
Okay.
Not just for new vaccines and treatments, but also for better diagnostic tools.
Okay.
The quicker we can identify a pathogen, the quicker we can contain it.
Speaking of vaccines,
yes,
I know the articles mentioned development is already underway for some of these threats, like H5N1. But what about the fungal infections?
Yeah, that's a tougher one.
Are there any vaccines in the pipeline for those?
Not really. And that's where we need a lot more research.
Okay.
Fungal vaccines are much harder to develop than bacterial or viral vaccines.
Why is that?
It's because fungi are eukaryotic organisms.
Okay.
Just like us.
Right.
Their cellular structure is much more complex.
Right.
So it's trickier to target them without harming human cells.
So it's like trying to create a weapon that only hits the bad guy and not the hostages.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
But there are promising developments on the horizon.
Okay, good.
Scientists are exploring new approaches.
Yeah.
Like using nanoparticles or genetically engineered yeast to create fungal vaccines.
Oh, wow.
It's cutting-edge stuff.
Yeah.
And it shows how important innovation is in this field.
Right.
We need to think outside the box to develop effective ways to fight these fungal threats.
Okay, so we've got global surveillance, new treatments and vaccines.
Yep.
But the articles also talked about strengthening healthcare systems globally.
Yes, that is very important.
Why is that so crucial?
A weak healthcare system anywhere can quickly become a problem everywhere.
Oh, right.
Especially during outbreak.
Right.
We need to invest in building capacity in areas like disease surveillance, laboratory testing, and infection control, especially in low-resource settings.
I can see how that would make a big difference.
It would. It really would.
But it also sounds like a massive undertaking.
It is a big challenge.
Yeah. Is there anything we can do on a smaller scale?
Yeah.
Like in our everyday lives to help?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Never underestimate the power of basic hygiene practices.
Right.
Hand washing, covering your coughs and sneezes, staying home when you're sick.
Yeah.
These are all simple but effective ways to reduce the spread of infections.
Oh, right.
And, of course, getting vaccinated is one of the most powerful tools we have.
Okay, so we need a multi-pronged approach.
Yes.
Global cooperation, innovative research, strong healthcare systems, and individual responsibility.
I think those are all really important.
But is that really enough? The articles painted a pretty bleak picture of how things like deforestation and climate change are driving the emergence of these diseases.
Yeah. I mean, you're bringing up a crucial point.
Yeah.
Tackling the root causes of these outbreaks is absolutely essential.
Okay.
And that means addressing those big systemic issues you mentioned.
So how do we do that? Are we talking about some sort of global environmental overhaul?
It's a big challenge, no doubt.
Yeah.
But it starts with recognizing the interconnectedness of human health, animal health, and environmental health.
Okay.
That's where the One Health concept comes into play.
Okay, unpack that for me. What exactly is One Health?
It's a way of thinking that recognizes we can't protect one aspect of health without considering the others. It's about breaking down the silos between human medicine, veterinary medicine, and environmental science.
Can you give me a real-world example?
Sure. Imagine an outbreak of avian flu on a poultry farm.
Okay.
A traditional approach might focus only on containing the virus within that farm.
Right.
But a One Health approach would also consider the wild birds in the area, the farm workers who are exposed, and even the surrounding ecosystem that could be impacted by the virus or control measures.
So it's about looking at the bigger picture.
Exactly. It's about understanding that human activities have ripple effects across the environment.
Yeah.
And how those ripples ultimately come back to affect our own health.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But how do we actually put One Health into practice?
It requires a fundamental shift in how we interact with the planet.
Okay.
We need to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels to mitigate climate change.
Right.
We need to protect biodiversity and preserve natural habitats.
Yeah.
Sustainable land use practices and reforestation efforts are essential.
I can see how One Health is like a powerful framework.
It really is.
But these are big changes. How do we get everyone on board?
We need to raise awareness.
Okay.
Educate people about the interconnectedness of these issues.
Yeah.
And advocate for policies that prioritize a holistic approach to health.
Right.
It's a long game,
Yeah.
but it's essential for our future.
This deep dive has given me a whole new perspective on infectious diseases.
Okay.
It's not just about viruses and bacteria. It's about the choices we make as individuals, as a global community.
I agree.
So you've hit the nail on the head.
We have the power to influence the trajectory of these diseases.
We do.
But it's going to take a collective effort.
I think that's a really important point.
Okay, so we've got the framework for understanding the problem
and
some ideas for tackling it.
Right.
But how do we actually put those ideas into action?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question.
What are some of the specific strategies being developed to combat these infectious diseases?
Mm-hmm.
We'll explore those questions when we come back for part 3 of our deep dive. So we've talked about the causes of this surge in infectious diseases and explored the One Health framework.
Right.
Now let's get into the nitty-gritty.
Okay, yeah.
What specific strategies are being developed to combat these threats?
Well, I think one area of focus is on developing new antimicrobial drugs, especially for those pesky drug-resistant infections.
Okay, so we need new weapons in our arsenal.
What's happening on that front?
Scientists are exploring new approaches to drug development, including targeting specific mechanisms within the pathogens that are essential for their survival. This could lead to more effective drugs with fewer side effects.
That sounds promising.
Yeah.
But what about those superbugs that are already resistant to multiple drugs? Are we running out of options?
It's a constant battle, but researchers are looking into novel approaches like phage therapy.
Phage therapy?
Yeah.
What's that?
So it involves using bacteriophages, which are viruses that infect and kill bacteria. Think of them as tiny assassins that target specific bacteria.
So we're using viruses to fight bacteria. That's fascinating.
It's an old idea, actually.
Oh, wow.
It's a strategy that's been around for a while. But it's gaining renewed interest as antibiotic resistance becomes more widespread.
That makes sense. It sounds like something out of a science fiction movie.
I know, right?
Are there any other innovative approaches in the works?
There's a lot of excitement around the development of monoclonal antibodies.
Monoclonal antibodies, those are used for treating cancer, right?
They are, but they also have potential for fighting infections. They're essentially lab-created antibodies that can target specific pathogens with incredible precision.
So it's like having a guided missile system for our immune system.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And the beauty of monoclonal antibodies is that they can be developed relatively quickly.
Right.
Which is crucial.
Especially in an outbreak.
And responding to outbreaks, exactly.
Okay, so we've got new drugs, phage therapy, and monoclonal antibodies. What other strategies are being explored?
Another area of focus is on improving diagnostics.
Right.
We need rapid, accurate, and affordable tests that can be deployed in any setting. Especially in low-resource areas.
Why is that so important?
Because early and accurate diagnosis is crucial for effective treatment and containment.
Right.
If you can identify a pathogen quickly, you can isolate infected individuals, initiate treatment, and prevent further spread.
It's like the saying goes, knowledge is power.
Exactly.
The articles also highlighted the importance of strengthening public health infrastructure globally.
Yeah, I think that's critical.
What does that look like in practice?
It involves investing in things like disease surveillance systems, laboratory capacity, and training healthcare workers.
So it's about building the systems that can detect, respond to, and prevent outbreaks before they become global threats.
Exactly. We need a robust public health workforce that's equipped to handle emerging infectious diseases, no matter where they arise.
It's clear that this is a complex challenge.
It is.
That requires a multi-pronged approach. But I'm also seeing a lot of hope in the innovative solutions being developed. It feels like we're finally starting to take this threat seriously.
I agree. We're seeing a shift in mindset from a reactive approach to a more proactive one.
Right.
We're recognizing the need for a One Health perspective, global collaboration, and a commitment to investing in public health.
This deep dive has been a real eye-opener.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
It's shown me that the fight against infectious diseases isn't just a battle against tiny organisms.
Right.
It's a battle for our future.
Well said. And it's a battle we can win.
Yeah.
If we work together, stay informed, and never stop pushing for progress.
I couldn't have said it better myself. And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the world of infectious diseases.
Great.
We hope you've learned something new and feel empowered to be part of the solution.
Yes.
Until next time, stay curious and stay healthy.